boys and girls, it's Mrs. Bartell here to go over the Unit 2 review test so that you can use this as a study guide for our real test. So first of all, I want to make sure you have your name on your paper. So right now, if you do not have that, please get it on. And if you do have it, I want you to put a happy face after it. I want you to make sure you have the date on your paper. And remember, I don't want the date anywhere over by where your file number is going to be. So go ahead and write the date on there. And then over here in the upper right-hand corner, make sure you have your file number. Put a star underneath it. Okay, make sure that's done, please. Okay, so here we go. We're going to dive in. It's quite a bit, but we're going to persevere and get through it. Write the numbers that complete the unknown. So remember, these are the factors and what's in here are the products. So that's important to know because a factor times a factor is a product. So remember, I'm not making you multiply by numbers like 24 and 54 or 12, right? So those would not be the factors. So you have to apply a little bit of common sense here. A factor times a factor equals a product. And you should remember that from making all of the multiplication tables that we make. All right, so let's look here. They want us to complete this, but then the hard part, and this is the very hard part, is they want us to explain how we find this missing product. So all along the way, every time we fill something in, we're going to write like number 1, first I did this, second, next, third, finally. So we're going to use linking and transition words, and we're going to fill this in and make the directions down here so that we can get to that answer. So it's a little bit of a process. And if you did not do that when you were doing your test, I actually want you to get a piece of scratch paper and actually we're going to write everything on the scratch paper. And I am too, because it won't fit here. It's crazy, but it's way too much steps to do that. So the first thing I think we should do, what I'm spying, and I don't know if you're spying it as well, but I see that we have a factor and a factor, and we can solve for a product, right? So 9 times 6. You can count by 9s 6 times, or you can count by 6s 9 times. And I think counting by 9s 6 times is faster. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. So now I've used this. And that's what I'm going to put for number 1. First, I solved 6 times 9, which equals 54. Okay? So that's what we're going to do first. And then we'll do second. And don't panic because we can be pausing this video anytime we need. If I'm going too fast, you pause. All right. So now what I am spying, I am seeing this 6 and that 2. And 6 times 2, we know 6 and 6, it's 12. So then I'm going to put on here, notice I'm crossing that off. Second, I solved 6 times 2 to get 12. Okay? Now, the next thing we need to figure out, and it looks like we're missing factors, missing a factor. So we're going to probably be doing some division here. I'm going to do, I think I'll say third. Third. So I'm looking at this 2. 2s are friendly. 2 and 16. Third, I looked at the factor 2 and the product, hopefully you can see what I'm writing, and the product 16. And then I'm going to do right here, 16 divided by 2 equals, or you could say 2 times something equals 16. Third, I looked at the factor 2 and the product 16 and came up with the missing factor of 8. Let's double check that. Yep, right here. That's the missing factor. 8 times 2 is 16. Okay. Now we can actually solve for that right there. And we could do it a different way, right? We could do 24 divided by 8 is this missing factor, or we could do, I think this is friendlier, 18 divided by 6 is that missing factor. And I think the 18 divided by 6 is easier than 24 divided by 8, but you can do it either way. So either way would not be, there's not one way that's better than the other. It's what you like to do. And I left off on number 3. Remember, you should be pausing. We should be pausing this video if we're going too fast. Okay, so number 4. Fourth, I looked at the product 18, oopsie, 18 and the factor 6. So again, 18 divided by 6 equals, or we could say 6 times something is 18. And when we count by 6, 6, 12, 18, so that's 3. So I'm going to say, fourth, I looked at the product 18 and the factor 6 to find the missing product. This is a lot of work, I know that, but this is not anything that's too hard. It's just that it takes effort and a lot of time. It is quite time consuming. All right, so now that I know that this is 3, now I have to figure out how I'm going to get this and how am I, and I have a factor. I have a factor here, but I'm missing a factor here. And what I just spied, this looks like a really friendly number. A lot friendlier than that. This is an unknown. We can't do anything. But here we have one factor and a product. Here we have another factor and a product. 9s aren't real friendly, but 3s are friendly and 15 is friendly. So I would say for our 5th step, for number 5, next, and you can say 5th, but I'm going to say next, I looked at the factor 3 and the product 15. Right here, 3 and 15. So 15 divided by 3, or 3 times something equals 15. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So it's a 5. So now we get to find the missing product, or no, factor, excuse me, the missing factor of 5. Okay? So a 5 goes right there. Okay. Now, guess what? Now and by the way, I've used a whole sheet of paper to do that, and they expected us to do this in this little box. There's no way. So I said first, second, third, fourth, next. Now I'm going to say finally, number 6. Finally, I know that 5 times 2, the factors 5 and 2 equal 10. So that's how I solved it right there. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay, remember to be pausing as much as you need to. And asking questions too. All right, we're on problem number 2. Because number 1 was pretty long, but now we're on, it seems like that was like number 1 through 20. Now we're on number 2. There's 56 books on a cart, and each helper puts 7 away on a shelf. How many student helpers are there? So we know the total. We know the total is 56. And we know that every kid gets 7. So there's 56 to start with, and each one's going to get 7. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 35, 42, 49ers, 56. Okay, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49ers, 56. Now we should be able to figure out how many kids this is. How many helpers are there? This is an equal share drawing. You can do this a different way though. You don't have to do it this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 56 books divided by, they're in groups of 7. How many kids is that? 8 student helpers. So now that I've done it that way, and notice I'm not even looking at any of this stuff yet. I could have also done this. Each kid has 7 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a group of 7. And we need to know how many groups of 7 are 56. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49ers, 56. So now we know. Okay, we know that. 8 times the 7 is the 56. So how many students with the groups of 7 is 56? That's a different way to write it. And that is a quick array, a fast array. So now that we kind of have a picture of what the story is, now we can look at what they want to know. And they want to know, choose yes or no to tell whether each equation could be used to solve the problem. Can we do 56 times 7? This would be an 8. And if I did commutative property, it's 7 times 8. And again, up here, if I did commutative property on the division one, or I finished off my fact family, it's not really commutative property. So these are my 4 equations that I could have. So you certainly could not have that. 56 divided by 7. Yep, it's right there. Yep. 7 times something is 56. 7 times something is 56. Yep, this was our missing. That was the number, how many kids there are. We could do that. 7 divided by something is 56. No, you never divide with a tiny, tiny number and get a giant number at the end, or we are into like fractions or something. So there we go. All right. Remember to pause or put your hands up if somebody else is watching the video with you and tell them to pause and ask questions if you are not understanding. And we're going to go on to the next one, which is number 3. Okay, Raul, notice I used a whole piece of paper for number 2. I want you using lots of scratch paper. Number 3, Raul makes a sign for a school fair. It has the length of 9 inches and a width of 8 inches. A length of 9 and a width of 8. These are key words. What is the area? Ooh, area is square something, and in this case it's inches. Draw a rectangle. You must draw a rectangle. So here's my sign. Doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm going to label it. Okay, it has 9 inches long. And it is 8 inches wide. It doesn't matter where you put the 8 or the 9. And we do know that to do area, it is you multiply the length times the width. So square inches. And 8 times 9, if you put your 8th finger down, 72. Hopefully you counted by 8s or 9s though and didn't use that trick. So it's 72 square inches. So on this problem, you must have a rectangle. I don't care that you don't want to have one, you have to. And you need to have an equation because it says right here, write the equation. This is the equation. And then you have to obviously put the answer down here. Okay. Number 4. For okay, true or false for each state. Oh, PEMDAS. Okay. So parentheses, exponents, right? Multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. If you didn't write that, you need to. You need to stop and do that right now. So remember, if they already give you the parentheses, you do that first. So I'm going to look at this one because it's jumping out at me. They already gave me the parentheses. And I know I do that first if they gave them. So they're saying that 9 take away 6 and divided by 3 is the same thing as 9 take away 6. Well, what's 9 take away 6? It's 3. And 3 divided by 3, that's 1. So that cannot possibly be the same thing as 9 take away 6. That's not correct. Okay? Now, they did not give us parentheses for the rest of these. And I'm just going to put what that is. So on this one, 3 divided by 3 equals 1. So on this one, this right here is this. We know that's 20. This right here is 3 plus 2 is 5. So now we can try to figure these out. And where do you put the parentheses? If you're looking at this, you always put it around multiplication or division before the addition. So right here, if you have 3 plus 2 times 4, you would need to add your own parentheses, and that's 8. And we know that 3 plus 8 is what? 11. So is this right here, is this whole thing, is it 5? No, it's not. It is not 5. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, next. The next problem. We have to figure out where to put the parentheses. So we're going to put it around multiplication or division first. And multiplication is what we're going to put it around first. We're going to put it around here. And that's 20. And if we take 20 and we divide it in half, it's 10. So is this whole part of the equation the same thing as 20? And that answer is no, it is not. So that's false. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Write the problem that can be solved. Oh, make your own story. And it has to involve the word tickets. Okay, 7 groups of 6 tickets. Okay, and I'm going to circle that because that's how many are in the group. Mrs. Bartell, I always like to write about myself, had 7 groups. Well, I'm going to just say I had 7 friends. How about that? 7 friends. Period. Each friend got 6 tickets. Period. Now I'm going to come up with my question. What am I going to want to know? How many tickets did all of her friends get? How many tickets? Oopsie. How many tickets did her friends get? How many tickets is that in all? How many tickets did she give them? There's several different kinds of questions you could have asked. And the answer, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42 tickets. All right, moving on to the next page. Moving on. We are on number 6. All right, write the basic multiplication or division in the box that gives the unknown number. Okay, so 7 times something is 63. 7 times 8 is 63, or 7 times 9? 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49ers, 56, 63, so that's a 9. And that means I have to write that in the box right here. And I'm going to circle that because that was missing. That's my 9 that was missing. 36 divided by 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. So again, that's a 9. So I'm going to put that here. And I'm circling the 9 because I'm looking for 9. 24 divided by something is 3. I'm going to count by 3s until I get to 24. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. That's 8. So over here, I'm going to write 24 divided by my 8 is 3. 4 times something is 32. Count by 4s until you get to 32. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, right? So that's an 8. So that would go in this box. 4 times 8, and I'm circling the 8, is 32. Something times 9 is 72. Well, 9 times 9, I know that by heart, it's 81. So this is 8. So 8 times 9 is 72. I'm circling my 8 because I'm looking for the 8. And on this one, if I take 18 and divide it into groups of 2, I know for a fact, I know what it is, but I'll count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So it's 9. 18 divided by the 2 is the 9. So these are the 3 you needed here, and these are the 3 you needed here, and you needed to just do the work and sing your count bys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times you had to sing your count bys, and you're capable. So I know you probably got those correct, and if you didn't, I'm hoping you found your mistake and you're fixing it. All right, choosing whether they are correct or not. Oh dear, dear, dear. So I'm going to use my scratch paper. So on here, for 3 times 30, you would want to find the basic fact. 3 times 3, it's 9, and we're going to add 1 0. So is that correct? No, it's not. Okay, moving on. 5 times 40. You're going to find your basic fact, 5 times 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, and add how many zeros? 1 more. So is that correct? It sure is. Okay, on the next one, 2 times 40. You find your basic fact, 4 times 2, and 1 0. So obviously that is wrong. Last one, 9 times 60. You find your basic fact. It is 54. If you did your counting, you should have come up with that in 1 0. So yes, that's correct. So that's how you solve for number 7. I'm going to number it on my scratch paper. All right, now we're on number 8. Carrie? Or no. Yeah, Carrie, she finds 7 seashells at the beach. So here's Carrie. She finds 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now her brother finds 8. So brother is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They divide the seashells equally. So we need to know what a first step question would be on this. We have to do something before we can do any dividing. I'm hoping that you know that we would need to find out how many seashells they have all together. That's the first step question. How many seashells do they have? And that is 7 plus 8. That's the first step of the question. And 7 and 7 is 14, and 1 more is 15. That's the first step, and this is the first step of the equation. So when it's asking for an equation, we have to have that right there, and we are going to want to write 15 there. And we're going to put parentheses around it. Now we can solve it. They divide them equally among 3 people. 15 divided by the 3. How many does each person get? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So each person gets 5 seashells. And this is the only correct equation. I know you might think you can do 7 plus 8 is 15 and then do 15 divided by 3, but no. They want you to be using that PEMDAS, which is why we spent so much time on that. All right, on to number 9. A toy store sells 7 different model cars. 7 different ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. These are all different. And each one comes with 5 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So car 1 comes with 5 colors. Race car 2 has 5 different colors. So there's 7 cars, and each one comes with a different color. 7 groups. And there's 5 in each group, 5 different colors in each group. How many different model cars are there? So this is a fast array. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. They want you to solve the problem. And we just did it on the paper here. There's 35 of them. Now, you have to choose the type of problem and operation you used. Was it an array? Was it equal groups? And by the way, array means rows and columns. That would have been mentioned. Did we see rows and columns? Even though I did do a quick array to solve it, did they say rows and columns? No. So it cannot be an array. And it's not area because it's not asking how many square feet are there or how many square inches. So it can't be area. It has to be equal groups. And we knew that there were 7 groups with 5 in each. So it's multiplication. Write another story that's the exact same type using 7, using 5. Oh boy. Mrs. Bartell. I like stories about me. Mrs. Bartell had 7 different I'm trying to think. 7 different 7, and that's going to be my groups. 7 different vases. How about that? Each vase comes in 5 different colors. How many different vases are there? And I shouldn't say I had 7 different vases. I'm just going to say a store, because I wouldn't have that many vases, so that's not really realistic. A store had 7 different vases. Each vase comes in 5 different colors. How many different colors are there to choose from? And I'll just stop at are there. That's the exact same kind of problem. So you could say a store had 7 different tires. Each tire came in 5 different styles. How many different tires were there? You could say the car dealer had 7 different vehicles. Each vehicle came in 5 different colors. How many different colors were there? Or no, how many different cars were there? Oh, this was cars. I don't want to do that one again. Oh, this was model cars. Okay. You could say that you had, I'm just thinking, 7 different cats, and each cat came in 5 different species. So how many different types of cats were there? I don't know. That one doesn't really make sense. I'm trying to think of another one that would make more sense. Oh, I know. The book bins that we have. Lakeshore had 7 different book bins, different shapes of book bins. So ours are all the same, but Lakeshore does have ones that are different shapes. So Lakeshore had 7 different shapes of book bins, and each shape came in 5 different colors. How many different book bins were there? So that would be a good one. All right, let's move on. Write a question for the given information. Then make your equation and solve it. A museum has this many visitors on Friday and this many visitors on Saturday. So there's 2 different kinds of questions that I'm thinking about just from reading that. 2 different ones, and that's why I'm going to use a piece of scratch paper. I could say, for my question, how many visitors were there? Hopefully I'm writing where you can see. How many visitors were there in all? So I could add. I could do that. And that would be this. So 297, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 7. And 468, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 8. Okay, so if I'm combining, if I'm like trying to make a 10, this right here makes a quick 10, and I'll put it here. I'm going to draw it right like that and draw an arrow to it. And I know that 10 quick 10s makes a new 100. So I'm going to do it like that. Okay, so if I'm looking here, I can see I have 5 1s, 6 10s, and 4 and 3 is 7 hundreds. That's called the place value model drawing. And some of you might know how to do that. This is 15 and you carry your group of 1, and now you have a 10 and a 6 is 16 and you carry your 100. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, no, wait a minute. 4, 5, 6, 7. Holy moly, I don't know what I was just doing. Holy mackerel. I don't even understand my mistake. Okay, 4 and 2 is 6 and 1 more is 7. Or you could say that 2 and 1 is 3 plus 4 is 7. Wow, good thing I'm like not totally asleep. So 765. That's if you added. There is something different you could do. You could say, how many more visitors? See? Oops, I'm spelling that wrong, and my pencil just is really breaking. How many more visitors were there on Saturday? Saturday is always a busier day because people aren't working and they're with their families. How many more visitors were there on Saturday than Friday? And I'm abbreviating. I'm trying to hurry because I know you're sitting here waiting for the punchline. So it's 468, subtracting out the 297. And again, I'm going to do the model. I like it that way. 68. Making sure everything's in the 10 frame. So they want me to take away 7 1s. I can do that. And I'm left with 1 1. One of the ones. They want me to take away 9 quick 10s. And I don't have 9. So I'm going to have to unbundle 100 and make 10 more. Now I can take away the 9. And I want to get rid of these 6 first, because I want to leave them in a 10 frame so it's easier for me to read. So there's 5 and 2 is 7 10s. And they want me to get rid of 2 hundreds. I'm going to get rid of those too. So I have 1 of the hundreds left. So it's 171. And again, 8 take away 7 is 1. And some of you might know bigger bottom, better borrow. You might know that. So 16 take away 9. 7, and 3 take away 2, 1. So 171. So you could have written addition or a subtraction. If you wrote a subtraction problem saying how many more visitors were there on Friday than Saturday, or no, on Saturday than Friday, you needed 171. And if you did your addition, how many visitors were there in all, or on both days? 765. Okay, let's move on to the next problem. And my papers are all a mess on the side here. I'm trying to get my act together because I don't want to lose my order of the papers, if that makes sense. Well, you can't see what I'm doing, so it wouldn't make sense. Okay. Last page, I'm hoping. I think it is. I think it is the last page because that was the front and back. Yeah. Hallelujah. Last page, a few more. We can do it. All right. How can you use a pattern to find 6 times 9 if you know 3 times 9? Oh, that's like we did our doubles the other day. We just did that. All of the 8s were double of what 4s were. All of the 10s were doubles what the 5s were. We did that. So if we do, and you do have to fill this in regardless, and it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. So now if we know 3 times 9 is 27. How the world can you do 6 times 9? And the answer right there, and I'm not done here yet, but the answer would be double 27. So 27 and 27. 7 and 7 is 14. Carry my 10. 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be 54. Let's see. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Yeah, 15. Double that. It's 30. 36, 42, 48, 54. But here's the answer. You double the 27. Double 27. Yep, that's it. So, yep, I would want to put that too. And we did that. 27 and 27 is 54. You would have to have that here. Okay. Whew. Square numbers. Oh, the factors are the same. 2 times 2. 3 times 3. 4 times 4. 5 times 5. So, square numbers. The factors are the doubles. Now, it says draw a picture for one of them. People, why would you do 8 times 8 or 6 times 6? That's a lot of work. Do this one. It's easy. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do the easy one. 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. Draw a picture. I want my picture to turn out to look like an actual square. That's the whole point. It's going to have 4 equal sides, 16 square tiles formed in a square. It's going to have dimensions of 4, 4, 4, 4. Explain why it's a square number. Well, equal numbers of rows and columns make equal numbers of rows and columns make a square number. You also may have said something about all 4 sides of the rectangle drawn are the same length. All 4 sides of the rectangle drawn have equal length sides. Running out of room. This is an important run right here, though. The same number of rows and columns form square numbers. But you may have also said that. Okay? Last page. Woohoo! All right, read the problem. Write the first step, question and answer. Then write an equation to solve it. Okay, we won't worry about that. A school buys 6 games for 6 classrooms. Or no, a school buys games for 6 rooms. That's like Miss Bartell's class, Miss Timsack's class, Miss Saporito's class, Mrs. McMahon, Mrs. Milne, and Mrs. Snepshield. Okay, so there's 6 classes. And it buys 3 board games, 4 puzzles, and a video game for each classroom. So I think our first step question should be, how many games are there for each classroom? So that's going to be the first, this is 13. How many games are bought altogether for each classroom? Question mark. That's our first step. And we know there's going to be, and you know how I like pictures, okay? So before I even do an equation part, I like to have the picture. So board, board, board. puzzle, 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 and 1 video game. So that's 3 plus 4 plus 1. And I'm going to put that in parentheses because we need to solve that. That's the first thing we need to do. And 3 and 1 is 4, and 4 and 4 is 8. So here's part of our equation. It has to look like that. It has to be written like that, and we had to solve it first, meaning it has to be in parentheses. Now we know that there's 6 classrooms, 6 of them. So there's going to be 6 groups of this. 6 groups of that. 6 times 8, 6, 12. I'm blanking, sorry, I'm tired. It's 5:30, guys. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. So I know that's going to equal 48 games are bought all together. So this is what it looks like when you're putting your, I don't know how you're going to do that. I would simply say see the graph paper because I did all the work here. But you have to have the first step question, and that's how many games are bought all together for each room. And I would draw a picture and then write the numerical method of what you're drawing that picture for. And then there's 6 groups of that because each classroom gets that. So 6 groups of this, and that's 48 altogether. So on here it's 48 games, and here's all my work. So if you want to do the work on the paper, that's fine, but this is what you should have had in this little area right there. All right, number 14. Draw a line to match each expression on the left with the right that has the same value. Okay, so before I do any of that nonsense, I want to solve these. That's 30, and I'm looking for the easy ones. That's 4, 32, 10, and if you didn't solve these, you're going to want to. This is 49. Oh boy, let's see. I'm just thinking PEMDAS. What comes first? You have to add the parentheses. We don't do exponents. Multiply, divide, add, and subtract. So multiplication and division need to come first. So I'm looking here. This isn't going to matter where you put the this isn't going to matter where, but we don't do times 16. I mean, some of you might know how to double 16, but I'm going to do the 8 first. And 8 times 4, I know my facts. You should have already solved that. 8, 16, 24, 32. That's 32. All right, again, what do we do first? We do not add first. Over here, multiplication comes first. So you needed to do that. And that happens to be 8. And 2 plus 8 is 10. Okay, right here, it's not going to matter what you do. However, if you're thinking that that's 15 and you don't know how to multiply that by 2 and double it, you wouldn't want to do that. You would want to do this and have 6. 6 times 5, that's 30. Okay, let's look at PEMDAS. We're not going to put our parentheses here. We're going to do it around the division first. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 2 and 2 is 4. Last one we have to do here. Find our basic fact, and I'm going to do this one on a scratch paper. 7 times 4, 28, and add a 0. So this is 280. And then this one too. Find the basic fact. 28 times 1 is 28, and add a 0. So that's 280. Oh dear, this is a lot of solving. So 280 goes there. Let's see, 4. Did I solve a 4? Yep, 4 goes here. I did a 30. 30 and 30. Did I solve for a 10? I did. 10 is here. I didn't solve this one yet, but I guess we can do process of elimination probably. 32 is here. And the only one I have left is here. And to prove it, you have to do multiplication first before you can add. So you're going to have to do 35 and 14. And if you add 35 and 14, it certainly is 49. So now I know for sure that that goes there. All right, last problem. Woohoo! We're persevering. This is certainly a lot of work. Choose the equations that make the statements true. Okay, so we know that these are all true. If we know this, what do we know over here? And I'm thinking I'm seeing division, so I'm trying to scramble my brain to think about fact families. And so I'm just going to write some fact families here. This will be divided by 9 equals 3, or 27 divided by 3 equals 9. Do I see that over here? No. So I don't see that one. So now I'm going to look at this one. And if I'm turning this into division, I know it's 15 divided by 3 is 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And do I see that anywhere over here? I do not. I don't see anything with a 15. Okay. 48, 6, and 8. I see that right here. 28, 7, and 4. I don't see any number that's, this one would be 28 divided by 4 is 7. 28 divided by 7 is 4. I don't see that over here. So this is the only one right here. This is the only one that's related. That's called related facts, fact families. Okay, boys and girls, I hope you did well. This was an hour review. I'm hoping you broke it up into sessions, and now you're ready for the test.